welcome to all the viewers of India Today. This is a special broadcast that we are getting you from London. I'm Smita Sharma and it's a very happy Deepavali to all our viewers from my video journalist Sanjay Chaudhary and myself and the entire team of India Today. Just a couple of hours to go for the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to land here in this charming city where you can see all these wonderful fall colors on display. And of course, this is the first official bilateral visit of Narendra Modi to London. One of the most anticipated visits and also one of the perhaps most controversial ones, keeping in mind that drubbing in Bihar Assembly elections, those voices of dissent in India against the Prime Minister's overseas visits. But nevertheless, the Prime Minister has a tight schedule here during his 3-day stay, after which he will of course proceed to Turkey for the G20 summit. But while in London, Narendra Modi will have those official talks with his UK counterpart David Cameron. He will be addressing the UK Parliament and also of course meeting with Queen Elizabeth at Buckingham Palace. Both sides completely excited as far as this visit is concerned.
And it's a special week for Britain and for India because of the extraordinary visit of Prime Minister Modi that we look forward to on Friday. He will be speaking to 60,000 people in Wembley Arena. I don't know what magic he has. I struggle to fill Wembley Town Hall, but it's going to be an extraordinary Friday. But today, of all days, I think it's a moment to reflect on what Diwali means and how it brings us together, and to think for a moment about its origins, its values, and what we're going to be celebrating as Prime Minister Modi comes to Britain this week.
The UK is also the city of London. It's a very important financial centre at a time when we are seeking to attract capital and technology and best practices from abroad. The investment, we have the second largest Indian diaspora in the UK. Persons of Indian origin are roughly about 1.5 million. UK is among our top 5 S&T partners.
All right, this is a much anticipated visit of the Prime Minister. Smita Sharma was getting us all those details there from London. In fact, Smita just a short while back also spoke with some people at King's College. Let's now listen into what the scholars had to say.
We are at one of the most established and most premier seats of education, not just in the United Kingdom, but globally. The King's College in London, established in 1829. And what is the buzz like really with the Narendra Modi visit? That's what we will try and discuss here with two scholars of foreign policy. Dr. Rudra Chaudhary, who's a senior lecturer at King's College here in the Department of War Studies. Also joining me here is Shashank Joshi, who's a senior research fellow, Royal United Services Institute, as well as a PhD candidate, Harvard. Good morning and thanks for joining us this early here in London.
Thank you for coming down.
Absolutely my pleasure. So, to begin with, Dr. Chaudhary, just give me a sense of what really is the expectation from the Modi visit. It's a first bilateral visit in 9 years, though we have had Manmohan Singh attend a multilateral summit here some time back.
Well, I think quite interestingly, this visit means different things for both Cameron as well as for Modi. For Cameron, it's very clear. This visit is really about dazzling the Indian Prime Minister. He wants the kind of relationship that Modi has with other world leaders like Shinzo Abe, for instance, or the former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott, where there's a close working relationship. And I think the British establishment has figured out that this is a man that you deal with, not necessarily an institution that you deal with. Okay. So sort of breaking the ice with Modi is going to be key, which is why the Prime Minister from India is going to spend the night at Chequers, the British Prime Minister's country as their residence.
Well, the Chequers didn't happen for Xi Jinping.
Chequers did not happen for Xi Jinping. In fact, what's quite interesting, and here you can really see the British establishment, the Foreign Office, going out of its way. Modi's going to get a guard of honor in this country, which is a right, it's a privilege that's usually reserved for heads of state. This is a guest of state visit. He's going to have lunch with the Queen, The London Eye is going to be lit up in the Indian tricolour. The red arrows are going to accompany the Indian Prime Minister as he drives down to 10 Downing Street for his first meeting on the 12th, tomorrow morning. So I think for the British establishment, this is really sort of to get at the heart of, to place Britain at the heart of the Indian Prime Minister's political imagination.
You know, there's a very interesting point that Dr. Chaudhary made here, Shashank, that this is not just about the personality, it's not just about the institution anymore, it's about the personality. Is there a way to read it really, you know, that do the British sort of Foreign Office now think that it's the persona of Narendra Modi who can perhaps give this relationship a push?
Yeah, I think they've seen very clearly how much emphasis Modi places on his foreign trips, as Rudra said. I also think that they, remember, they did this with other leaders too. Xi Jinping was taken for a pint at a pub by David Cameron. Now, obviously, he can't do that with Narendra Modi, but he has to find some other way.
He hardly eats and drinks.
He has to find some other way to connect on a perhaps less, you know, indulgent level. At the same time, I think there's a lot of catching up to do. You know, Cameron's aware it's been 9 years since a purely bilateral visit. In that space, Cameron has gone to India 3 times, so he'll want to drive home. This isn't just about the checkers or the optics of the visit. You know, the UK is still the biggest investor in India. India is still investing increasing amounts in the UK. Some very big, prominent investments in that list, like Tata Steel and Jaguar Land Rover. And I think that he'll want to put that on a sound economic basis and announce some very dazzling figures at the end, especially after the China visit, where the headline figure of billions of dollars of Chinese investment was the big takeaway for Cameron.
Let's now go across to Lavina Tandon joining us with more details from London. Lavina, you know, India expects investment and cooperation as far as terrorism is concerned. What is it that UK is eyeing from this visit of Prime Minister Modi?
When Prime Minister David Cameron addressed the Diwali meeting, he's exactly said the same thing. India and UK have had a shared history, they have had a past, but it is time for now look at the future and take this entire relationship to a next level, which means they have to come together as equal powers and address the common issue of terrorism, which is also faced by him, and he put it in so many words that India and UK have to be together on facing this entire Islamist terrorism and entire issue of terrorism. At the same time, climate change is something that they're looking at. Also, they are top investors in each other's country, but they should also look at increasing their investment and increasing the exchange of skills. So they are looking at the whole motto of this entire thing is 2 great nations and 1 bright future, and they want to come together as one to make a bright future, take the history to a next level, which is a bright future.
All right, Lavina, do stay on with us, and let me wish you a very happy Diwali, Lavina. Let's now quickly cut across to what Lavina sent us already through the day. In fact, she spoke with the organizers of that big meeting that the Prime Minister will have with the diaspora at Wembley Stadium. Let's listen in.
The Wembley Stadium, one of the biggest and the best in the world, popularly known as the Rolls-Royce of all the stadiums in the world. Home ground for England Football Association. A dream place to perform for the performers, and never ever been used by any world leader to address people. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be the first person who will be addressing people from here, people from Indian origin, and this is the first time ever in the Wembley Stadium, which is almost an icon for the world. Indeed, high aspirations, high expectations. Let's talk to the organizers about what's happening and what's going to happen. And I'm here joined by Mayuri Parmar, who is one of the members who's organizing this entire event, and I have been on her head very, very often. And I've brought her out of middle of such an important work that she's doing. Mayuri, what is happening on the 13th?
Thank you so much for having us on the show, firstly. So it's not just me. We've actually had a team of nearly 200 volunteers that have been working for something like 4 months and on this incredible event. When we first approached Wembley Stadium, they said,
something like this usually takes 18. So it says a lot for the hard work of all the community and all the volunteers that have taken part. And obviously there's a huge amount of excitement that's been built up over the last few months, and also especially in the last couple of weeks now. We're coming, it's coming up very, very, very soon. We've got communities, nearly 450 partner organisations that are basically going to fill up this entire stadium. We are at capacity. There are going to be 60,000 people here on Friday the 13th, which we are immensely proud of to have achieved that.
All right, with that, we're taking the editor Smita Sharma spoke with Lord Meghnad Desai a short while back about the importance of the Prime Minister's UK trip and on the prospect of India getting back the Kohinoor.
Lord Meghnad Desai is here with us in London to talk about the Indian Prime Minister's first official bilateral visit to the UK. So what exactly, would you say that the United Kingdom Foreign Office has in mind right now as it prepares to welcome Mr. Modi?
Well, United Kingdom has always been very enthusiastic about increasing trade and investment with India. UK now regards itself as a much more of a trading nation, and they're very conscious that the emerging economies are where the markets are. So they want to sort of change their trade direction from developed countries to emerging economies. And China's President Xi Jinping was here only a while ago, and now they will welcome Narendra Modi with open arms because UK needs investment and trade.
But how are they viewing the investment climate in India at the moment, given all the kind of political controversies, the Bihar Assembly election defeat, the bickerings which are ongoing in India? Does that impact the investor sentiment too?
I think temporarily. These are short-run things, When a government is in power, government gets criticized. But investment is a long-run proposition. So you basically look at the market prospects and things like that. Whichever government is in power, India is a good investment record. Now, Modi has raised India's profile very much, and the more people are coming in, and only yesterday they further liberalized FDI rules in many, many sectors. So there's a willingness on India's part to welcome investment, and therefore UK would definitely want to be in there. In the queue.
The British companies get into a lot of these legal complications, especially on terms of the retrospective taxations. Also, the GST reforms haven't really moved through in India. So, how is that playing out really here?
I don't think GST will affect that much. It will be good when GST passed. But people have more or less factored in disappointment on the GST. GST is not going to move. It has not moved for 15 years. It won't move for another 10 years. Who cares? I think what's more important is that these people know that the long-run prospect, given India's demographic trends, given India's willingness to attract money, India is a good prospect. There's no doubt about that. And other countries, Germany, France, US, are also going to be competing to get in there.
Right.
So the UK has to get in there and work hard.
So in terms of the defense partnership or partnership on counter-terrorism, because we also hear these reports of how the Sikh groups here plan to, perhaps come out on the streets and protest. How have things changed since the time the UPA government was in power and now with Mr. Narendra Modi in the saddle?
The Sikh groups have been even more against UPA than against Narendra Modi, because Sikh groups are against Congress.
Yes.
And they're for Khalistan, and they have been here for a while. And they protest, but I don't think they have ever indulged in a sort of terrorism, at least on UK soil. That they are alleged to have done on Indian soil. No, protests are normal. Whenever any head of state comes, Downing Street are full of protesters. This is a free and open country. One has got to get used to the fact that there is no head of state can come to UK and not face protest.
So one final question. There is also a lot of discussion in India right now that, about the question of the Kohinoor being raised. Is that something really which you think the Indian Prime Minister might just raise on this trip? Should he raise?
I think, it's all very pathetic. The Kohinoor belonged to Maharaja Ranjit Singh, and his son and heir, Dalip Singh Ji, gifted it to Queen Victoria. Nobody took it away. Nobody has robbed anybody for anything. And so I think the idea that Kohinoor belongs to India whatever India is. It may, you say, it belonged to Ranjit Singh ji and his descendants. And if you really want to have my word, Ranjit Singh's capital was in Lahore.
Right.
So if Kohinoor goes back to anybody, it goes back to Pakistan.
Okay, so that is something perhaps which will lead to another round of discussion and debate.
Indians should not think Kohinoor belongs to India necessarily. It belongs to Lahore, and in Lahore there is a Ranjit Singh Ji museum, and it'll go there.
So maybe it's best then to not to raise the issue at the moment, but here outside the famous London School of Economics with video journalist Sanjay Chaudhary. This is Smita Sharma for India Today.
Well, that aspect, of course, can raise another controversy as to where Kohinoor really belongs. Let me go back to Lavina Tandon once again for more details. Lavina, you know, this issue has been raised in the past as well about the Kohinoor and it being brought back to India. Now, what has been the UK stance so far?
It has been raised by primarily MP from the Labour Party, Mr. Keith Vaz. He has moved early day motions on it in the Parliament, but nothing substantial has ever come off, and that is primarily because there is not one voice about it, even amongst the Indians. If you heard Lord Desai, I have spoken to Lord Parekh and many other people, and they think that this is a thing of the past, as Prime Minister David Cameron said. And I'm voicing the opinions of many of the other side of the coin. Yes, there are people who are wanting it back, but there are others who say that this is a thing of the past. India and UK now have to build upon their past and walk into a future. Kohinoor is the jewel of the crown, of the coronation crown, which is worn once in a lifetime by the Queen. It is really the jewel of the crown. It is in the Tower of London, and whenever the crown is worn, or it is, or people visit the Tower of London, they remember India. So I think it is rather be there, and I will be very doubtful that this would be raised by the Prime Minister himself.
All right, many other issues certainly of greater importance that the Prime Minister really needs to raise with the UK, especially, you know, about investment, as you were pointing out earlier. Lavina, many thanks for joining us with all those details from London. Well, we are taking a very quick break, but we are leaving you with these visuals of Diwali celebrations in the UK as well. Smita Sharma caught up with people celebrating Deepavali in London. The Diwali lights are shining brighter this time.
Here in London, even as we are trying to capture the excitement around the Indian Prime Minister's upcoming visit, there is a buzz here on the SOS campus because this is in fact the daily Bhog Prasad that's being served by the Hare Rama Hare Krishna Society, and a lot of people, as you can see, lined up there. Where are you from?
I'm from London, but this is from Hare Krishna temple. It's made in Watford, and then it's brought down to London. We distribute maybe 1,000 plates of prasadam a day to everybody. The prasadam is for...
Hi, what's your name and where are you from?
My name is Apurva and I'm from Chennai.
Apurva, how is the prasad first of all?
It's great.
It's great?
Yeah, it's a really good feast on Diwali, especially when you're away from home.
Yes, happy Diwali in fact.
Happy Diwali, happy Diwali.
Like, maybe your parents also. So you're a student here?
Yeah, I'm a student here.
How is it being in UK? You know, do your fellow students take a lot of interest in India, in the Indian growth story?
I can see that a lot of people from other countries also enjoy Indian food.
Okay.
And she's from China.
Okay.
And every time you go and stand in the queue to get food, they say Hare Krishna.
Oh.
So she learned.
What are you having right now?
I don't know much exactly they are, but it's
khichdi.
really, yeah, it's really nice and I like it. And today she teach me how to say Krishna and Happy Diwali. So I think it's very good, and I think many people from different country can know better about the Indian culture and something.
So happy Diwali to India from a Chinese young student here as well. Well, that's the kind of global story that we look at, and that's the kind of global audience that Mr. Modi needs to and perhaps aims to tap on all of his overseas visits. Here at the SOS campus in London with Sanjay Chaudhary, this is Smita Sharma for India Today.